What's going on, guys? We're back with another episode of my Widowmaker map guide series. So if you're new here, I'm going to be going over general / beginner spots for Widowmaker. This series is definitely, I guess you could say, aimed towards the newer players that are getting into Widowmaker. But of course, not only am I going to be showing you guys some general spots as well as beginner spots, I'm going to be showing you guys some secret spots here and there. And also, I'm going to be telling you guys what is the use of most of these spots. Now, sadly, most of the positions that are on Route 66 aren't as great, and there aren't a lot of secret areas in Route 66 like there were on Numbani and Hollywood. So I'm mostly going to be going over a lot of general spots in this episode. But of course, that's what the map guide series is for. It's for the players that are just getting into Widowmaker that would like to know what are the ideal spots for ideal situations. So when you first start out with Widowmaker, one of the things that I like to do, when I start out with Widowmaker on this map, is if you guys camp over here, right, you guys can take a look at that rock over there. Wait up 1 second. I am looking at, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, it's because the rock gets camouflaged sometimes. But yeah, this rock right here, guys, Widowmakers like to be perched up here. So all the way from back here, you guys can get an easy headshot on them. Another thing that I like to do when I'm starting out with Widowmaker on this map is I like to come this way, and I like to do a grapple all the way up here because it gives me access to the entire map. You guys can also grapple onto this location over here. Keep in mind, sometimes there's a widow up there. But yeah, this location, probably the best location for point 1 because it gives you easy picks. Most of the people are going to be in the choke point on lower levels of play. So you guys are going to be able to get those healers, get those DPSs, all that stuff. You guys can also go the right route. And as you guys can see, you guys have some nice access towards, the guys that are over here as well. Keep in mind though, if the enemy team has a Pharah, you probably don't want to do this. Okay, so let's say that the enemy payload, I mean, not the enemy payload, but let's say that the payload is like somewhere around, like all the way, to the back, right? Sometimes Ana players like to camp up here. Sometimes Widowmaker players like to camp up here because, of course, that is a really good spot for Widowmaker. Well, what you guys want to do is you guys want to get out through the right door, and then you guys want to grapple onto this steel structure over here. And as you guys can see, you're going to be able to get a cheeky headshot from this grapple shot. As you guys know, I don't really showcase a lot of grapple shots throughout the series, but, that's one that's definitely worth pointing out. This is a basic spot. Obviously, you're not going to go super into it. I'm not going to go really in depth into a lot of the basic spots unless, of course, they're like really good crucial spots on the map. This is more of like a situational type spot. Sometimes I see that the payload is a little bit stuck on this area over here. There's a Hanzo, there's a Torbjorn setting up a turret up there, but a team fight is going on this area right here. I can't be on top of the train because I'm just gonna get melted. So I like to come over here and I like to help out my teammates from this location because this basically makes it so that everyone that's camping on this area right here can't really engage me. So make sure that you guys use this train to your advantage. You guys can grapple onto this area right here, take out those pesky Torbjorn turrets. You guys can crouch, of course, for protection, as you guys can see right there. Okay, so sometimes Widowmakers like to camp back here. Keep in mind, if you guys go through the right, you guys can get on top of this rock, and then you guys can, of course, snipe the enemy widows. This is more of a situational type spot, but it's still one that definitely deserves a mention. Okay, so this area right here, obviously when you're defending with Widowmaker, really important, really good. This area right here isn't really, the greatest, I guess you could say, but it is kind of okay. You guys can access this area right here, this area as well. But look, this is the reason why I want to touch upon this area a bit. A lot of Widowmakers, they like to come up here and they like to get those cheeky spawn elims, okay, and that's pretty cool. Now, the biggest problem is that most of the Widowmakers that do that, they just do it at the beginning of the match, guys. Keep in mind, Widowmaker's very mobile. She's not restricted with her grapple as she was in the past. So let's say that the payload's over here. Your teammates just want a team fight. That's a perfect opportunity to come back up here and see if you guys can get a headshot. Sometimes, a small pick at the beginning of a team fight can be the difference between you winning or losing the match, okay? This spot right here is also really good. You guys basically have access to the enemy spawn, and of course you guys also have access to the mega pack that's all the way over here. Okay, with that said, let's move on forward to the second area. For example, this area right here. This spot right here isn't the greatest. It's not the greatest position, but when the payload's over there, you want to move a little bit forward, you guys can help out from here. Okay, this spot also really good. You guys can crouch, you know, as the enemies are coming from. You guys can shoot them, and of course you guys can also do a grapple shot and get a nice aerial view of the map. Alright, so you're attacking with Widowmaker. You guys can jump on top of this rock and you guys can take advantage of the Widowmaker that's camping over here, or of course the players that are camping over here. Also, keep in mind guys, mountains in this map give you a lot of grapple shot opportunities, so make sure that you guys are using the mountains to the best of your advantage. If you guys watch a lot of Overwatch League, you guys probably know about this spot, but it's a really good head glitch type spot that I really think a lot of you guys should start using it. It basically just makes you a really hard target to hit if you guys are, of course, have a Widowmaker on this other side right here. So if you watch the pros play a lot, you guys know that they use these 3 rocks a lot. And how they use these rocks is, of course, for cover. So make sure that you guys are also, you know, doing the same. Get a headshot, move around, switch location. You guys get what I mean, right? So when you're defending with Widowmaker, you guys can come up here, as you guys can see, to help out with the payloads over there. Also, you guys can come out over here at the beginning and also use this spot as well to shoot the payload when it's in that location. You guys can also use this little area right here. It's a situational spot, by the way, but this spot works really well when the payload's over there. As you guys can see, you guys can also shoot the people that are over here. Back in the day, you were actually able to get on top of this thingy, no, on top of that thingy over there, but you can't really do that anymore, so sorry friends. Alright, so you're coming over from your spawn, you're gonna jump a little bit, you're gonna move a little bit forward, and you should land around here. Okay, this is a pretty good spot because of course you have access to these areas right here, and of course if you need to get out, all you have to do is just move forward, and as you guys can see, we're out of the spot already. Let's say that the payload is a little bit forward over here. You guys can use the gas station as well, and of course you guys can also use this rooftop. Again, you know, a lot of general spots in this map, guys. This spot right here is also very helpful on attack and of course defense. If you're on attack, it gives you access to people that are coming from here as well as here, and of course if you move a little bit backward, you have access to the people that get out of this door. If you're on defense, okay, the payload's going on over there, there's a team fight going on over there, and basically no one's going to be shooting you because you're really far away. And if a Winston does jump on you, you guys can always just do this and see if you guys can get another cheeky elim. So this is also a spot that not a lot of players use. This is, I guess you could say, the secret spot of point 1. You guys can get behind the billboard, and as you guys can see, you guys have a lot of access right to this point right here. You guys have access to this high ground as well, so make sure that you guys use this spot. Obviously on defense, this is an obvious spot, not really gonna go super in depth into it. The gas station barely gets used, but it's a really good position that gives you some nice line of sight, as well as of course a health pack. But yeah, with that said, my friends, let's move on forward to the second point. Not a lot of crazy spots on the second point either. Okay, so if you watch Overwatch League and you're a fan of Linkster, you guys know that he does this a lot. Basically, you guys want to grapple on over here, and as you guys can see, you have access to this little area right here. You guys can also walk on this, and keep in mind, guys, I actually didn't know. If you guys take a look at my Widow gameplays, I never really used this spot because I actually didn't know that this was an actual thing that you could stand on. I thought you would actually slip off. So yeah, you guys can stand on top of this. Make sure that you guys use it on attacking and of course defense. As you guys can see, if you're on defense, you guys can kill the enemies that are coming from spawn, help out on the payload over there, and of course if you're taking fire, you guys can just bam, drop down over here. Okay, this is also a really good spot. You guys can move on forward a little bit towards the right, and as you guys can see, you guys have access to people that are coming from this area right here. When you're attacking, okay, a lot of Widowmakers like to be on this spot over here, as well as this area right here. Okay, and of course these are both, you know, 2 great spots. But if the payload's around here in this street, this is a really good spot. Okay, it gives you some nice protection from the left, and you have basically a clearer line of sight of the payload, and it gives you access to the health pack. Listen guys, the reason why this spot is great is because there's a team fight going on the payload, and then you're just sniping people, right? And then you see that the soldier's just running away from the team fight. He's coming to the health pack, but he has no idea that you're over here. Bam, you take him out before he gets to the health pack. Easy. This area right here, very good for defense when the payload's around this area. Or you guys can also get on top of this billboard over here, as you guys can see. Really good spot. You guys can also get behind these generators and get some headshots around this area over here. But keep in mind, you know, this area, these steel thingies do limit your shots quite a bit. Okay, so this area where I'm standing at with Widowmaker, it's called the catwalk. Okay, so the catwalk, it's honestly really good when you're on defense. As you guys can see, you guys have a lot of access to the payload. Basically, you guys can see the entire payload, honestly. It can be used for attackers as well as defenders. And the reason why I'm pointing it out is because I see a lot of people, honestly, just using the spot when it comes down to defending with Widowmaker. Keep in mind, with Widowmaker, you guys can grapple on over here. And look at that, you know, when you're attacking with Widowmaker, there's a team fight going on over there, and of course you guys can basically just, you know, snipe and help out your team. You guys can come on over here, have access to the enemy spawn, and you guys can also come on over here as well. Okay, keep in mind, Widowmaker, very mobile hero if you know how to manage her cooldowns. So this is something that you guys can always do when you're attacking, defending as with Widowmaker. When you're attacking, there's a team fight going on over there. You guys can use this little area right here, which gives you access, of course, to the mega pack. And of course, you guys can also use this gas station over here. When you're defending, this is also a very good spot. Not gonna go super into it because it's a really basic spot. Okay, look, let's say there's a Widowmaker camping all the way back there, right? She just keeps sniping you over and over again. It's pretty simple, guys. Just go around her. You know, just because you have bad aim doesn't mean you cannot outplay her. Okay, if you have the better positioning, if you attack her from a position that she's never seen before, she's not gonna see it coming. She's probably just gonna be standing still, and of course you're gonna be able to take her out. This is also a really good spot for attackers and of course defenders as well to camp on when of course you're Widowmaker. I guess you could say the secret spot of map 2, I mean of point 2 in this map, it's this little area right here. It just gives you a little bit more of a high ground access. As you guys can see, you guys can get to it by just grappling on over here. It's a pretty okay spot, honestly, but you know, you can just use the catwalk as well. Also you guys can get on top of this little roof area right here. When you're defending, this is a really good spot because of course the payload's gonna be over there. Genji comes on you, you can just put up the venom mine over here and you have the health pack right here and you're ready to headshot him. Oh, by the way, this is pretty obvious, but you guys can also use this spot to kill the enemies when they're coming from their spawn, and of course you guys can also use this spot when the payload's right here. Alright, let's move on forward to the third point on Route 66. High ground access, really good with Widow. As you guys know, this spot right here gives you access to the enemy spawn over there, as well as of course gives you a line of sight towards the entire point. You guys can also get on top of this little crate right here, I guess you could say, for some more high ground access and of course some cover. If you guys are over here, as you guys can see, you know, the people that are at the truck can shoot you. If you guys get on the truck, the people that are on the truck are going to have a harder time shooting you. So make sure that you guys use this crate. So this is a spot that a lot of Widowmakers use, but one of the things that people don't know about this map is that you can actually get on top of these little crates right here. As you guys can see, this one gives you access to the right side. It gives you access to Widowmakers that are camping over there where those moving platforms are at. It gives you access to the people that are camping on the truck. And again, you guys can also get on top of this one right here. And look at that. You guys have access to the payload as well as, you know, this spot right here. Alright, so this is more of a situational type spot, but it's a good one worth sharing, guys. So a lot of Widowmakers like to be perched up here when the payload and the team fight is taking place over there. However, you guys can actually get behind this crate right here and then just crouch, and look at that, guys. You guys basically have access to the entire team fight that's going on over there, except that of course the moving platforms do get in the way from time to time. That's the only bad thing about the spot, but this spot gives you so much protection, guys, so I would definitely recommend this spot over this one right here if of course you want to have more cover. If you're on the defensive side of things, of course you guys can use this little area right here. You guys can use this area right here, this back area over here as well, and then you literally got the health pack over there. Obviously you guys can use this high ground as well, and of course you guys can use this high ground to take them out when they come out from spawn, and of course this area right here. Okay, now moving on forward, okay, to what's this thing called, to the second point right here. Let's say the payload is a little bit moved forward over here. You guys can camp over here on this little crate right here. This is a situational type spot, but of course I should go out and mention it. A spot that a lot of players don't know about is this one right here. Okay, so it isn't as great, I guess you could say, as you know, just standing over there, but it does give you access to the payload when it's over there, and you know, you are on the high ground, which means that non-mobile heroes are going to struggle basically getting to you. When you guys are on the attacking side of things, you guys can also use this spot as well to snipe the players that are over there. Okay, so a super situational spot for Widowmaker is this one right here, because as you guys can see, the truck is over there and you guys can shoot through this little area right here. Honestly, I don't recommend it because yeah, your aim's probably gonna be really bad and you might just miss. However, it is really difficult to hit you when you guys are on the other side. But honestly, even though that's a spot, I've never ever actually used it. You know what I mean? Like, I've never really been like, wow, this spot basically saved my life when it comes down to another Widow. Now, the best tip that I can give you guys for taking out Widowmakers that are on this area, if you guys choose to go through this way, is to basically come through the bottom. Because as you guys can see, if you're camping over here with Widowmaker, okay, you're shooting over here, there's a Widowmaker that's gonna be over there. It's just very easy. See, it's just like a horizontal type aim. Okay, but if you're down here, she literally has to move towards the left and also the bottom, which is just going to be a horizontal and vertical type aim. Just in case you guys didn't know, you know, some Widowmakers struggle when it comes down to vertical and horizontal type shooting, because again, it's not really, it's easier to shoot when you're in a horizontal plane than when you're in a vertical and horizontal plane. That's just how I can basically put it. Okay, so yeah, when you're defending with Widowmaker, you guys can get on top of this truck, and of course you guys can also use this for attack and defense. Keep in mind, however, you guys can also get on top of this little area right here. Instead of getting on top of the truck, this is where I would recommend you guys to go, because as you guys can see, you guys have a high view access towards the point. Even though the moving platforms do get in the way, believe it or not, sometimes the moving platforms can't actually save you. You guys also have access to this beginner spawn area right here, and let's say that the enemies are catching up to you, you can basically just move on to this little area right here. As you guys can see, if you stand all the way back, you know, the enemy team, I mean the platforms aren't going to shoot you. And yes, my friends, this is a good spot for attacking as well as defending. You know, if you're defending and you're over there with Widowmaker, you guys can move on forward over here and basically have a better view of the payload as it's reaching the final point. One of the things that I have to say about this spot, again, is the moving platforms. Okay, sometimes the moving platforms do get in your way, even of course when you are on attack. So if you guys are on defense, okay, keep in mind you guys can get on top of this little crate right here, and as you guys can see, you have access to this entire sightline as well as this spot right here. This spot, if you guys of course have seen my Route 66 Widow gameplays, you guys know that I have used it quite a lot, and of course it's pretty good. You know, if the enemy team is playing a comp that's sort of like very aggressive towards you, you know, they got the Winston, they got the Genji, they got the Tracer, this spot is of course pretty good because it gives you some nice protection. Now, one of the things that I forgot to mention is this is also a thing right here. You guys can shoot enemies that are over there through here, and this right here is a small head glitch that you guys can basically take advantage of. If there's a Widow over there, it's gonna be really hard for her to hit you. When the payload is over there, you guys can use this little platform over here. This is something that I've never really seen you know, used by a lot of Widowmakers. As you guys can see, you guys have a ton of access to the payload when it's over there. And of course, when the payload is moving a little bit forward, you guys can also use this little area right here. The reason why I'm giving you guys a spot is because most Widowmakers like to even be camping over here when the payload's literally right in front of their faces and the Reinhardt is literally right there. Okay. This is also a really good spot when the payload is basically over there as well, but again, it's honestly just a basic one, so I'm not really going to touch upon it. Last but not least, you guys can also camp on top of this thingy. This spot is basically situational and basically protects you from non-mobile heroes. And of course, you guys can also use this spot right here, which gives you access to the payload when it's over there, as well as this area right here. This spot is really good for Reinhardt. Sometimes even Winston's missed the jump all the way over here. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it when it comes down to this episode of my Widowmaker map guide for Route 66. Like I said, not a lot of secret, not a lot of crazy spots for Widowmaker, but again, the main purpose of this series is for me to show the beginner Widowmakers, you know, the players that are getting into Widowmaker, some nice secret spots, but also the basic spots and, you know, why they're used for and why they're good and all that good stuff. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and check out more Widowmaker map guides in, of course, the description below.